Hello, hello, hello. We are looking today at a steel that has been ever so requested. It's finally here, thanks to a very generous viewer who has loaned me his knife. This is not my knife, so I won't be doing the extreme stuff to it, but he's loaned me his Rex45 Para 3. What I'm going to be doing is a two-stage test today. I'll be testing this untouched factory edge, and then I'll be putting a 17-degree mirror polished edge on it and testing that and seeing how this steel performs. Interesting to compare this factory edge results to the last two, the 4V and the Crewwear 300 and 370 cuts those factory edges did. See if the Rex45 edge does a bit better. Now Rex45 is an interesting steel. It's fairly analogous to HAP 40, which I have tested previously, which is a great steel. A really high-end kitchen knife steel, often HAP 40 is found. Interesting thing about Rex45, it's a high cobalt steel, so that means that they can generally get a pretty high level of hardness out of it. It makes it better at heat treating, if you want to heat treat for hardness. And then you've got a lot of, well, not a lot, but you've got a decent amount of vanadium, and then you've got some tungsten in there, which is another carbide former, and just a healthy amount of plain old carbon as well. So not a stainless steel. The chromium amounts, I believe, are about, it's like 5% or something, 4 or 5%, and it's, yeah, so similar to HAP 40, vanadium levels of S30V, but then a whole bunch of extra cool stuff like tungsten and cobalt. So anyway, let's put it to the test. Let's cut twisted sisal rope with it until the absolute edge of the knife is no longer slicing a held sheet of paper in my hand like so reliably. So once it starts skipping a couple times, I stop the test, and the amount of rope cuts is the number I attribute to this particular edge and this particular steel. So that is the test, and it of course takes place in this beautiful structure now lovingly referred to as the knife lab. Alrighty, so 470 on the factory edge with the Rex45. That's a great factory edge result. Spyderco's factory edges are usually quite good. This is, I think it's about 18 degrees. It might even be at 17, so we'll see. At any rate, the next part of the video, I'll be putting a mirror polished edge on this Rex45 steel, see what kind of improvement, if any, it gets over 470 cuts with its very, very nice factory edge. So thinking about the 4V, it did about 100 better than 4V, which stopped at 370, and the Crewwear stopped at 300 on their factory edges, which were fairly similar to this one. Alright, so we're back. So last night I put a mirror polished edge on this one. Strangely, it seemed like it was very similar to what it already was angle-wise. So this seems to be factory grounded about 17 or at least just 18 degrees. So that's really cool. So yeah, it took off a tiny little bit of material, making the edge apex a little bit taller, but yeah, it really wasn't too much to do in terms of stock removal, which was nice because I had the feeling this is a pretty hard steel. I think this is up there in the Rockwells, and I think it's probably a more difficult steel to sharpen if you were to be re-grinding. Not that it's too much of an issue with diamond systems, but it was pleasant anyway. It wasn't too bad. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same test again with what should be a sharper edge, what will likely last a bit longer, and see how we go. So Rex45, this is the 17 degree mirror polished edge test. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so with my slightly steeper, ever so slightly steeper, and I would say a bit sharper edge of a mirror polished variety, the steel cut with this blade has cut 590 times. So that's an increase of 120 rope cuts over the factory edge test, which isn't surprising. Factory edges from Spyderco are usually very good and highly competent, but I mean, that's why all these super duper sharpening systems exist, so you can go above and beyond a bit. So, and I'm not even particularly accomplished at sharpening. I'm sure someone else who is better on those things would be able to do even more. So anyway, that is that. Thank you very much, Travis, for sending me this knife along. As I always often say, I don't take a whole bunch of loaners. I'm not particularly contactable. I just get a lot of offers and things like that. But this is very much just a side little hobby for me, this channel. So, but yes, when a steel is in demand like this and was on a knife that's not really available anymore openly, it's nice when someone can hook me up with it. So thank you very much, old mate. I'll get it back to you as soon as I can. I'm not sure. I'll have a think. I might do another test on it or not, but I've just got a lot to do, and this is really a bit of a fine art resource. It really I start to get a bit of an ache every so often if I do a lot of cut testing. So I kind of have to spend it wisely. This big old arm of mine. But yeah, not a big deal though. Very, very interesting numbers on this very, very cool steel. This is it feels very M4-ish or S110-ish, about that caliber of knife. Maybe K390 cuts a little tiny bit more, but yeah, really, really nice steel. If you get this in a kitchen knife, you'd probably never have to sharpen it. It'd just be great. But for pocket knife use, apart from it being non-stainless, yeah, really recommend it. It sounds great. Just one of those steels you don't really see in anything but sprint runs and little oddities. So if you see something in it and you want to know if it's good or not, then yeah, I could pretty much vouch for it. It's good steel. Alright guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.